you will hear a Hollywood reporter talking about a family of stuntmen. For questions 1 to 10, complete the sentences with a word or short phrase.
The Scott brothers, Walter, John Clay and Ben, are part of a highly successful stunt family. And they owe their success, so they say, to the oldest brother in the family, Walter. Walter was the one who did it all first, after moving to California to become an actor around 1960. In those days, they were making a lot of westerns, and Walter knew that he could act in these films because he was a real cowboy and had a lot of experience working with horses. He had been raised on a ranch. He started out working as an extra. His size was a big help. He's 6'3", because a lot of actors, like Clint Eastwood, were very tall, so he was often asked to be their double. After 3 years, he had made some industry contacts, and it was because of them that his career really began to take off. He started being offered lots of work. He went on to do a lot of TV work, not just westerns, but all kinds of shows, including a police series that was popular at the time. You name it, and he probably worked on it. Walter's brothers, John Clay and Ben, idolized him. They were 16 and 18 years younger than Walter, and all they wanted was to be like him. One year, when he came home for Christmas, Walter gave Ben some of the stunt equipment from a recent action movie Walter had worked on. After that, John Clay and Ben decided that they wanted to follow in their big brother's footsteps, and they both became pretty enthusiastic about being stuntmen. They both wanted to go to Hollywood, but Walter knew that life was very difficult there. He told them not to go anywhere near the place, but they wouldn't take no for an answer. Eventually, in 1978, he decided to let them come and try their luck. But he made them do all kinds of jobs that required hard labor, like roofing houses and building work, before he agreed to help them become stuntmen. He wanted them to have a little bit of a tough time like he'd had. The younger brothers worked as extras for 5 years before breaking into stunts. But it helped them learn what the business was all about. Nowadays, Walter prefers Western work, while Ben does a bit of everything. John Clay jokes that he is known as the car guy because he does so many car stunts. They do compete with each other for jobs, but if one gets a job and the other doesn't, that's fine by them. They're just happy to think that the job is still in the family. Not all the brothers' challenges have been physical, however. In the 80s, when the younger men were hired to work on a TV program together, their parts turned out to be French-Canadian brother assassins. When they showed up, they were told, "You've got a little dialogue," and they were handed a tape of French-Canadian language. They had to study the tape that night to do the dialogue. Then John Clay had to jump from roof to roof on 10-story buildings. Although Walter didn't want any of his own children going into the stunt business, he ended up helping 2 of his daughters and his son Wes to get started. But Walter always reminds his children it's a tough business. He always tells them to get behind the camera, become a director or an assistant director or something, because there's no future in being a stuntman. He keeps telling them to find another way to make a living.